Welcome to a new episode of Resonant Frequencies, a space where we explore all things anomalous. I'm your host, Nand, and in today's broadcast, we're going to talk about two separate concepts. The first of the two is the word cosmos, and the second one is the word universe. Now, both of these may sound familiar or similar, but I'm going to put a distinction insofar as the world of anomaly is concerned. And I'm going to be leaning more towards the word universe. And let's explain why. But before we do, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, and share this with those who might be interested in what I have to say. Thank you. So let's go back to the prior episode where I've described where we are as a soul and how we fit into a certain box. And if you want to go back and look at the show, just click the link up here and it'll take you back to that show. Those boxes that I described in the last episode are all contained within what we are going to call the universe. So if we have you in a box, as I defined it, and then we drew a circle around that circle would be called the universe. In this circle, with the box, there are other souls or other boxes, and so the population of this specific space are souls, all kinds, both in body, out of body, and again I've introduced you some new terms, and we'll explore those terms, in body and out of body, in subsequent episodes. So think of a box floating in the air, and within that airspace there is a circle that contains it, the universe. Now, within that space, you're not the only box that's floating. There are many, many other boxes that are floating within that space. So we can infer that the entire human race are boxes, and those boxes float within the space we're going to call the universe. Now, before I continue and talk about the other concept and then tie the two concepts together, we had a lot of reach out based on our last episode about the symptoms or the sensations one would feel if one was beginning their journey in a straight line in a given box. The simple answer to help you is if you meditate, then most of those, if not all of those symptoms, will begin to dissipate and evaporate. However, if you're having difficulty, do reach out to us and we will help you through the process. Thank you. Now let's get back to this episode and the contents of this episode. So in addition to souls and the energy levels or the boxes, which I defined as either being big, small, not exactly square, but different boxes, each of those boxes emanate a certain life force energy. And again, life force in this case is a certain emanation of prana or chi or subtle energies contained in that space next to what we're going to call the cosmos. Now, what is the cosmos? Scientifically, we can say it's the planets, the stars, and everything contained within that space might be termed cosmos. We have shooting stars, we have dwarfs, we have black holes perhaps. That is a scientific world. However, if we look at the different bodies that are contained in the arena of a cosmos, then we'll begin to understand how the two can work together or are part of each other as we progress in our lives. Now, again, we're talking about subtle energies. So each component that is contained in the cosmos emanates a certain subtle energy. And This energy can be harmonious or against your life force energies. And again, there are symptoms, and I'll define those symptoms in a bit. But let's put a real example within the space we're calling cosmos. And again, picture a circle, if you will, and in that circle we're going to have planets. So we have the impact of, let's say, a moon, the Earth's moon, on the Earth. So given where the phase of the moon is, we have something called high tide, low tide, we have day, we have night. These are all components of subtle energy. And as the moon impacts the Earth, there are other planets within the cosmos that also impact the Earth and the Earth's inhabitants. For instance, going back to the moon example again, if there's a full moon, then we know that behavior becomes erratic and shifts and changes. That, we can say, is the impact of a full moon, just for the purposes of discussion during this presentation. So each body in the sky, whether it's a star, whether it's a meteoroid, or whether it's a planet, does the same thing. So the impact of, let's say, Mars can present its subtle energies to us. So if you are into astrology, you can look up what's Mercury retrograde. And if you choose not to, we will explore Mercury retrograde in another episode. But like the moon, Mars, Mercury retrograde, and other planets have an influence and an impact. Mars, for instance, brings out the aggressive force. And so when someone is more aggressive in their behavior, we could infer that there is a subtle energy phenomena that's occurring in the cosmic world that's causing that behavior. Similar to that, Mercury going into a retrograde space causes other phenomena in the subtle energies of those of us that are in the universe and in our boxes. And these could include communication issues. These could include having to fix something or not start something, or repair something or not repair something. These are the impacts of matters in the cosmos. If you are following along with me, then the correct space that's greater would be the cosmos. And within the cosmos, once again, we have stars, we have planets, we have all these other rocks, asteroids, space debris, everything that's contained in that space that impacts everything in the universal circle of boxes. And as we move forward, we can have influences that are outside of the realm of the universe. So if we do a circle that contains us as boxes, and then we put a larger circle around that circle we call universe, and title the larger circle cosmos, and then we add the different planets and heavenly bodies up there, then we're talking about the cosmos. And all of these impact each other, in a sense, by playing with the word subtle energies, prana or chi. Their emanation is what impacts us. So what are some of the symptoms or impact of those of us that are the boxes in the universe that are being impacted by those forces that are in the cosmos? Well, if you've ever felt tired, unusually, and you haven't expended yourself in a sport or an activity, that would be one sign. The want to sleep is another sign. The want to get up at an odd hour in the morning, like 2:30, 3 a.m., is another sign. And every sign presents itself through a subtle energy impact on each box within the universe. So, as we go through life, we're being impacted by our own subtle energies of those around us, and then on a larger level, on a cosmic level. These are the confines within which we will describe subtle energies, prana, and chi. In our next episode, I'm going to come back down to the universe and start presenting more anomalous space, more anomalous things that impact subtle energies and how we go around that. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to our next show. Until then, subscribe and share this with those who might be interested in what I have to say.